We good? All right, so we are going to begin the meeting. It is 6:33. We'll have a call to order.
Motion?
Yes.
Motion for the Board of Health meeting on June 12th of 2025. So moved.
All right.
I think you have to second it.
Second, and we
Yep.
are.
And Dr. Mosler is not here tonight, so she's abstaining. Not in attendance.
But we have a quorum.
We have a
do have a
quorum.
quorum. All right, should we move on to number 2? And
Yeah.
Dragon, do you want to?
So acceptance of the previous minutes. So moved.
Second, everyone had a chance to read them. Okay, make a motion then that we accept it.
Yep, second.
Okay.
Great,
Favor?
accepted.
All right, 201.
Number 3, this agenda is going to take really long time tonight, I'm just saying.
I would like to say number 3.
Yeah.
I want to congratulate Dragon for her term, for her election results, and for being on this board, and how honored we are and how honored I am to serve with you. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
We do really great work. We've
Good job,
made a
Dragon.
lot of progression in the department, and I'm just eager to keep doing that work with everybody.
And you really beat the competition. It was
It
incredible.
was really
It was
intense.
like they didn't even exist.
Yeah.
Blew 'em out of the water.
That's great.
Agenda 4 is Health Director report.
Okay, so updates, Sparks Festival, you guys heard that got canceled. People have asked for their money back, but the way we're going on that is if there's going to be a makeup event or they're coming back to Hadley at some point this year, calendar year, then we will credit them with that as long as they confirm in writing that it's the same setup, they're not changing
Yeah.
anything. As long as they confirm that, then we'll give them credit for it. We won't be able to send out checks to people, but we will do that. The next thing on the list is,
Can I just ask a question on
Sure.
that? So did you see in the paper today they're not?
yes, at this time, they're saying that.
Okay.
I've heard rumblings one way or the other, and nothing official, but
Okay.
I know that NPR needs to raise funds, and they might have maybe.
A different titled event, maybe.
Correct. They
Oh,
might,
okay.
and I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying that they might decide to do that in a month or 2. And if they were to do that, we would be willing to credit them. Also, some of those vendors might go to another event, like the Oktoberfest or something like that. If they were, then we would also credit them with that, as long as they make the statement that nothing's changing and that what was reviewed before is still accurate. So for those reasons, for those contexts, we'll give them the credit for it.
I think that's very reasonable.
Thank you. All right, there's one on I know, Peter, you have something that you had to say today, but the Marcy thing, I'm gonna put it under mine because I was the one that was dealing with it.
I'll let you.
Okay. So there was some thought that maybe Marcy was leaving us at some point. It turns out that was a miscommunication. And so I confirmed with Marcy and Dr. Mosler that there was a miscommunication. She is changing her hours from every week, 6.5 hours, to every other week on Tuesdays, 7 hours. And that starts July 1st. So that's the new hours for the nurse. Every
So
other
she's going
week.
to be 7 hours now every other week rather than 6.5 every week.
Correct. That is inaccurate.
Still on the same day?
On Tuesdays.
Tuesdays. Yep.
Yep. So that's, and HR is aware, everybody is now aware, everybody agrees, Marcy agrees, we're all good. So that should be done and we move on from
And I
here.
think the senior center also, they're aware and they agree.
Yep,
Nice.
Violet was involved in the conversation.
It'll be nice for everyone to kind of maintain that continuity, right? Because she's built some great relationships here.
I have
with
confirmed that,
people.
yep, people schedule times to meet with her and all
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. so.
exactly.
But they need to be aware that it's every other week now,
Right.
and so she is making them aware, so it should be good to go.
Great, thank you.
Yep. Next thing, it made the news, so I'll be specific as to where it is. Greenleaves had a sewage backup. Just letting the board know that that location is still, no one is residing in it as of right now. The first floor, not the second
Right.
floor, the first floor that was affected. What's the cleaning service? ServPro. Yep, ServPro came in and they cleaned everything up. They are taking apart the walls that are affected, the
It's-
floors. It's good. It's a big project.
It is incredible work they do that I could never do.
Yep, yep. And they had a bunch of crews working on it. So, and they arrived quickly. So good to have them. Very happy they do their work. But those residents are not back in, is why I brought it up. So the board knows they're not back in there. Once they are, once the ownership believes they are done, they will give me a call. Fire will be involved, building will be involved. Everybody just has to go through, make sure everything's fine. And if everybody says green light, then people will be able to move back in there. All right? All right, in addition to that, there's just as a general update to the board, been a lot of housing stuff lately, like a lot of housing stuff. Things related to fire, egresses, hoarding, that type of thing. I don't have to get into all the details, but that's taking up a ton of my time. And it actually doesn't make that much sense. I would expect it to be more in the fall because
Yeah.
that's when the students come in. But it is what it is. Sometimes you get random blips, and we're certainly in one. Summer camps, we're working on those. Bunch of inspections coming up, one next week. And then there's another that I haven't quite been able to nail down the time for, but those are on the horizon.
Is that Hertzbrook and then the sports camp?
Yep, Hartsbrook is next week, and sports camp is sometime a little bit
Yeah.
further.
It's the themes.
And Hartsbrook
Yeah.
knows like what they're
Yeah,
doing.
they're good.
The code changed like a couple years ago, so but they're up to speed on what they're doing again. Many Title V things going on right now. This is the time of year, spring and summer. People are trying to get stuff done. There's a few innovative alternative stuff happening too. So that takes more time to review.
Yeah.
Because it's not something I do every day. But fun stuff where the seasonal high water table is like 3 feet below
Yeah.
the grade, and so you have to make sure that it's there are systems approved for that, but you have to make sure that it's being installed right and all that kind of fun stuff. And so it's actually a learning opportunity for me too, though, because I get to which one is this one?
Yeah.
Then I dig into it, try to figure out what DEP approved and in what context, all that kind of stuff. All right, I think this one is actually I'll flip these around. I'll give a negative one and then we'll end on a positive. The negative is budget is in the works. If the override, I don't know if you guys have, but if there's a possible override that might go through. If it does go through, then we should be fine. If it does not go through, we will be less fine. Just keeping that in everybody's plates that the budget is not a fun thing right now. Okay, the friendly or the happy thing is WMWAM. We are finally bringing it to town. So I will be doing electronic inspections. WMWAM is the program that we considered bringing in previously, but we went with a different
During
one.
the demos.
In part because WMWAM doesn't do licensing, or people can't renew their licenses.
Oh, this is a program.
Right, the software
Oh,
program for
from
permitting.
from the other one.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so the
I did like their demo.
they are the program itself is great. Their weak spot is they don't do permitting, as in renewals or
Right.
all that kind of stuff, applications. So that was the downside of them. However, we have the program we have now, Permit Link, that does that. WMWAM is coming to town because we are getting it through the collaborative. The collaborative inspectors already use it, and I've been asking the collaborative for a while, can we get it just in our office? And that did go through. So as of Tuesday, I'll get the Surface, and we have and I did a training this week
Microsoft.
on how to use it. So
Laptop.
Something like
A
laptop.
device.
Yeah, it's a tablet. It
Yeah.
functions as a laptop. It's got a keyboard
It's-
and everything. Yeah.
Instead of an iOS device, an Apple device, like an iPad, it's
Yeah.
just,
It's Windows.
And so you'll be getting that, and that you can do with all your other stuff, and then you can still do permanent link because we're
Yep.
still on board. with
We're paying for
permanent.
Permanent Link. The collaborative is paying for WinWham.
it's great.
And the other good thing about WinWham is because, Northampton, everybody around us that does have electronic, many of them use WinWham. It'll also be putting our inspections on the cloud. So if I do an inspection, but then the collaborative inspectors go do an inspection, they'll be able to pull up that business and be able to say, oh, what was the inspection Ben did last?
So good.
And vice versa. So they won't have to run to the office or all the advantages to like cloud things. So I'm super thrilled to bring it in. It was one of the big ones for us, I think, for a while to have inspections be digital. We will be starting that in the near future. The other thing we'll do is I've asked Peter to start putting data that we have in paper form into WinWham,
Scanning them.
contact information actually,
yeah,
and
great.
that type of thing. So he'll be doing that over the next few months, or at least a month or something like that. And that's it for me. That's a bunch of updates, but that's it for me. So, any questions?
No, so I guess for me, like when I hear about the budget stuff and
Yep.
budget concerns and needing to do a 2.5, I think being able to just communicate with all of our neighbors and everything like that and people in town, the importance of going to that vote so we can support level services.
So, not to get sidetracked, but there is a public relations person that has been engaged by
Okay.
the town to start working on that.
Okay.
I think their primary goal is to make sure people are educated on what is likely
Yeah,
to
yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah.
If they do decide, and obviously people can decide one
Of
way or
course.
the other, but if they decide they don't want the override, this is what things look like.
Right.
And if they do
And
want the
that's what-
override, this is what things look
Excellent.
like. So education's the best way to go
Yeah.
about it, and I think that's a good idea for the town to make sure people are aware.
I do
So,
too, because I've been involved in instances where there hasn't been that kind of planning and foresight to do that community engagement
Yeah,
and education, and then it's kind of like a missed opportunity.
totally agreed.
Yep.
You don't want people to be, oh my goodness, I didn't know
Yeah.
that was going to not
Right.
happen, that type of thing. And it's
Right.
good that they would know.
I know today we had another, spring is here, so people are out with their animals. So just have been busy with doing animal inspector items, with that. So have a couple, I think, 2 active ones right now that should be closing up, and then the other one starting tomorrow. So, just spring is here.
Yep,
Stuff
people
is
are out and
happening.
about doing things. We'll
Yep.
probably unfortunately get a bite or a possibly rabid animal at some point.
I know.
Let's hope they won't be, but there will be those calls because
Yeah.
more people are out and about.
Yeah.
And hopefully the tests come back negative, but we're there and we're ready to go on it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yep.
Does anybody have anything else? Do you have anything, Peter?
Yeah, I do. So under the heading of any other business not reasonably anticipated, I want to talk about the website and webpage. So let's start with the Board of Health webpage. So there are a couple items that we're going to want to add to the, if you will, the front page for the Board of Health. One of them being when a party is applying for a permit and paying the application fee, if we can't facilitate an online transaction, such as, perhaps a Title V application or something along those lines, we do not want to accept cash. We need to accept cash. A check
check.
or money order, that kind of thing. We've had recently some people coming in and bringing cash, or even worse, our little mail slot on the first
Oh,
floor.
goodness.
Somebody has left a
Oh,
envelope
goodness.
with cash in it. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
we're not going to deal with cash
Right.
for lots of different reasons. So what we want to do, and Margaret, I'll communicate this to you either tomorrow or next week, but we want to put a notice kind of front and center on our webpage, essentially stating no cash kind of thing. There are some other things that I think could be updated, could be refreshed on our webpage, and the content that is listed or again accessible by way of our webpage. I need to do a little bit more review on that before we start getting crazy. But having said all that, I learned today that the town is at the point where I guess we're getting serious about redoing or refreshing our website.
Nice.
And I just heard this today. I think you were out at the moment. And they're looking at starting in July. I don't have any details.
Oh, right, yeah.
The thinking is that we're going to use the vendor that already did or hosts our website anyways, already. And so it's supposed to become more user-friendly.
Well, so that's what I was, more intuitive
Yeah.
would be really nice for the end user.
Yeah, exactly. For people on the outside,
Yeah.
there'll be portals and
Right.
so on and so forth. But so that's obviously a lot of work. There's going to be money involved, obviously. But we've been talking about this. I know since I started here almost 4 years ago, and again by way of conversation today and by way of email, I learned that we may actually at least
Great.
put our toes in the water and see how cold it is, kind of thing, and then move forward. So I don't think we really need, we being the Board of Health, really need to do anything in terms of like any heavy lifting or anything crazy in terms of making changes ourselves. Whoever the vendor is, we'll work with the vendor. But as you look at the webpage, Board of Health webpage, its functionality, its look, its feel, whatever.
Pretty old school.
Send me a note or shoot me an email, whatever. It's like, okay, like this is going to be fixed, or this needs to be changed, or we really don't do that anymore. And again, you have more history than anybody here in terms of the Board of Health, so you might see stuff like right away. Like, we don't do that.
Yeah.
And Ben, you come in, from another organization that has obviously a webpage, a website, and so forth. You may think of things that you had previously that can be brought forth, in Hadley. So,
Should we, do you want to, how about if I get together with you at some point? I won't be around the next few weeks, but say in July that we get together, we do some brainstorming about it once we figure out
that'd
what.
be great. That'd be great.
All right.
There's no deadline, or excuse me, there's no timetable about it. I mean, we're all this is going to start, and nothing official except again, I received an email today saying, we're going to do this. But again, no other facts, no other information.
All right, well,
I
we could probably get together then in July
Yeah,
and look
that's
at
fine.
like eliminating some stuff, what we
Yeah.
can, hone.
Yeah, and we have, Ben and I have some drafts of permits that have been updated, and we just need to go through them and then upload them onto our webpage.
Yeah, those are on me. I have to do a final review of them before, but I don't think anything, we already spoke about it, so we already kind of know what it's looking like. I just have to get a final review of it.
Yeah.
But
Other than that, I have nothing else except make sure that we choose a date for our next meeting,
Yeah.
which I think would be July 10th.
That's what I have. And we are able to do Zoom component, right, still?
I believe, I don't think there's any reason why we can't.
I would need to
We need to
participate
do
by
that.
Zoom.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any conflict, so.
Yeah, and I don't either.
Okay.
So I will ask
Great.
powers that be for your
Okay.
Zoom link.
Okay. Cool.
So next Board of Health meeting, July 10th at 6:30 with Zoom. Any other business?
No.
Not for me.
Hearing none, motion to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor? Aye. All right.